Hello. Hopefully people can hear me. We will just hang out for a little bit while I figure out my shit. Okay, so we're gonna read more of Andy Ngo's book today. It's gonna be great. I'm sure it's gonna be even better than chapter 5, which we did last time, where we learned that the communists are why the Nazis came into power and the Reichstag fire never happened. Gonna do wine today instead of whiskey because I got pretty blasted last time. Andy Ngo's book is not conducive to sobriety. So we are going to do 19 Crimes wine tonight because Andy Ngo has committed at least 19 crimes in this book by ripping people's photos off and defamation. I feel like 19 is a low number, but that was the highest number of crimes they had at the wine store. So that's what we're doing. Thank you. Love this shirt. Second here. So this video is mistitled because I did not realize, since I am going into this cold, that Andy Ngo has an introduction to this fine work of literature. And so we're going to start there. We're going to go for about an hour. If we don't get through chapter 1, that's fine. But yeah. Heck yeah. Everyone here is the cool kids. All of you and no one else. If you aren't live watching right now, I'm sorry. You're not. All right. Unmasked by Andy Ngo. Introduction. Whose streets? Our streets. The crowd of left-wing protesters chanted as they marched into the heart of downtown Portland, Oregon in June 2019. Some of them wore red shirts and bandanas to broadcast their allegiance to Marxism. They paraded red flags printed with a rose logo, a symbol of the Democratic Socialists of America. They were joined by dozens of people dressed head to toe in black. Those were the radical anarchist communists. For people playing along at home, it's not as uniform as all that. There's a lot of subtlety we're missing here. Radical anarchist communists that's a whole video in and of itself. What does it mean? I don't know. No one does. Let's continue. Most of them wore masks long before the COVID-19 outbreak made them a norm of public life. Many also wore helmets and carried melee weapons. Andy, in 2019, why do you think people felt like they needed to wear helmets and carry melee weapons in downtown Portland? It's almost like there'd been a lot of far-right violence for the last few years. I was there for a lot of it. I was infiltrating Patriot Prayer from summer 2017 up through now, I guess. There's reasons, bro. Let's see if you address them. Together, the crowd of around 400 brought traffic to a standstill, by now a regular occurrence in the City of Roses, as Portland is known by. Thanks, Andy, for elaborating. Your reader probably could have figured it out just from the fact that he knew you were talking about Portland already, but I understand for your audience why you felt like you needed to explain a little more. Good job. Sorry, I've got a request for a song called Andy Book Still Bad. I will work on that. You have my word. If anyone watching knows how to make songs, hit me up because we need that. All right. Right. So the City of Roses, as Portland is known for. So now we all know that. As usual, the police stayed away. They knew whom the streets belonged to. The police, famously in league with Antifa. What are we drinking? Hi, welcome. We are drinking 19 Crimes wine. I got too drunk on the whiskey last time. 19 Crimes because Andy has done at least that many crimes in this book with defamation and stealing copyrighted information. So, yes. And I'm going to try not to do the whole bottle, but I probably will, because oh my God, already we're one paragraph in and already the police are Antifa. Like, those goddamn Antifa police. Like, I've been to, like I said, most of the rallies that have taken place here since summer of 2017. And I will tell you right now that the police face outwards from the patriots and towards the people that they're supposedly in league with. And you can do the math on that. All right, let's move on. Working as a journalist, thanks for elaborating, because we never would have known if you hadn't told us. I'm really quite serious, Andy. With a phone and a new GoPro camera, I slowly made my way towards the front of the crowd. Some of the protesters recognized me. They glared and whispered in the ears of their comrades. Luis Enrique Marquez looked right at me. The 48-year-old Rose City Antifa member had been arrested so many times at violent protests in Portland over the past few years that he no longer bothers to wear a mask. There is no citation for that, of course, because it's not true, for one thing. And for another thing, like, it's just, what a bold statement. What an incredibly bold statement to say. I don't think I've ever seen Luis wear a mask, although I guess if he was disguised, I wouldn't know, right? Anyway, they're obsessed with him. Luis, if you're watching this, man, it must be hard to be loved by so many so intently. All right. Still, I ignored the stares and continued forward. By this point, the crowd's chants had changed. We can all agree he's very brave, right? He's a very brave man to continue forward in the face of glares. I don't know how he does it, really. I mean, I could never. No hate, no fear, they began shouting terrifyingly, I'm sure. Before I made it much farther, someone or something hit me hard in the back of the head. I was nearly knocked to the ground from the impact. Never having been in a fight, I naively asked myself in the moment, did someone just trip and fall into me? Never having been in a fight is like the most awkward possible phrasing, Andy. I'm good for you for having never been in a fight, although I kind of tend to be of the Fight Club mentality that, like, you got to get in one fight, but, like, good for you. I guess you're getting into one here. Someone or something hit you hard and you were nearly knocked over. Okay. In the background, I could still hear the crowd chant, no hate. And in case you didn't get what he's doing here, he's going to really say it blatantly in this next part. Ironically, all I saw next and felt was the pure embodiment of hatred. All right, so Andy, look, I know subtlety isn't your strong point, but I've got to quibble with this sentence. It should be, ironically, all I saw and felt next would probably work better. Like, I saw next and felt, like, that's awkward as hell, dude. Like, you saw it next and then you just felt generally. I mean, I believe that, but this is, I mean, we are not even off of page 1 and you're just butchering English, your first language. It is embarrassing and I'm embarrassed for you. Yeah, maybe it is the brain hemorrhage from the milkshake. I mean, my God, I gotta say, like, this is the most evidence that I have seen that you had brain damage. Like, this prose is, and if that's the case, I am sorry, but it is the only evidence I've seen. But it's significant. Let's carry on. I should probably stop making fun of you. You did, after all, have a milkshake-related brain injury. Staring at an amorphous mob of faceless shadows. That is 3 words to say the same thing. I froze. Suddenly, clenched fists, as opposed to unclenched fists, repeatedly struck my face and head from all directions. My right knee buckled from the impact. The masked attackers wore tactical gloves hardened with fiberglass on the knuckles. It's likely some of them used brass knuckles as well. Okay. So first off, Andy he got roughed up that day, and I'm not, like, here to really make a comment on that. It's not my style. It doesn't seem to have been badly hurt, but let's, like, deconstruct this a little bit, shall we? There's an amorphous mob of faceless shadows, so he's not able to see anything. And things are striking him from all directions, but he knows about the gloves. He's sure of the gloves they were wearing, even though it was hard to see. And he's pretty sure they use brass knuckles because why not, right? Like, why not? When you're making up the facts, anything can be real. It's like magic. It's like unicorns. It's just, anything is possible. Yeah, all right. A maelstrom of unclenched fists. Emily Gonsberg, you are a treasure and a joy forever. And Corey Elliott says he's got a video which counteracts the claim of brass knuckles, which I believe because I saw Andy's face afterwards and, like, oh boy, if someone was using brass knuckles, they were using them poorly. Let's just put it that way. All right, let's carry on with this lurid description of Andy Ngo's abuse at the hands of violent Antifa thugs. I put my arms up to surrender, but this only signaled to them to beat me more ferociously. Someone then snatched my camera, my evidence. I desperately tried, but failed to hold on to it. The masked thief melted into the crowd, a function of the black bloc. Another person ran up and kicked me twice in the groin. Someone bashed me on the head from behind with a stiff placard or sign. This does sound like soft porn skip wire, really quite a lot. Hi, Brad. Really, the sheer like animal joy that he takes in being a victim is an inspiration. And again, I don't want to like make fun or make light of people who have suffered injuries at the hands of mobs. I just think that in this particular instance, Mr. Ngo is exaggerating somewhat. As you can see from the evidence that wasn't stolen, i.e. the cameras that people were using to take footage of the thing as it happened, like this is just, yeah, no, he really, really likes to be a victim. And I, again, am not here to kink shame Andy. Andy, again, I feel like there are better outlets for your kink. And if you unblock me, you coward, and DM me, I'm happy to point you in the right direction. I feel like I can help you. All right, let's carry on with the fanfic. The attack left me dazed and bloodied. I was bleeding from my ear and had open gashes all over my face. My eyes were beginning to swell with blood. I thought the beating was over, but next came the hailstorm of milkshakes, that's in quotes, eggs, and other hard objects at my face and head. Andy, milkshakes, eggs, and other hard objects. I don't think you know what a milkshake or an egg is. Neither of those are hard objects, Andy. Even when cooked, eggs are pretty soft, and milkshakes are definitely soft. Even if it had been a concrete milkshake, which it wasn't, it was never set. It wasn't set concrete. Even you didn't claim that, Andy. So I just, again, I feel like your English is bad. It's bad and you should feel bad. All right. Got some humiliation stuff coming up here. Everyone get ready. The mob roared in laughter as I stumbled away. A crowd of cameramen surrounded and followed me. I thought they were going to offer to help, but they just took photos and videos. Well, you and the Portland anti-fascist community can come together to agree that we need to smash all cameras and that press is garbage. They don't do anything but make riot porn. Of course, what you do is you just write about it afterwards. Interesting how you were mad about your evidence being stolen, but like the fact that people were filming the entire incident made you angry also. It's almost like you're just mad and that you were really excited to finally get to be the victim you'd always wanted to be. I don't know. All right. Content warning for transphobia for this next bit and probably for this next chapter. I mean, this is Andy Ngo's book, so like I feel like the content warnings, like it should be understood, right? That this is like, there's going to be ugly language in here. So just everyone, we're good? Okay. Fucking owned, bitch, shouted a local transsexual Antifa militant and a member of the satanic Portland anti-fascists. There's a citation. Oh, shit. There's a name who is verified on Twitter, was previously known as another name. So we got a dead name. Neat. But he does use her correct pronouns, I believe, by saying that she is originally from Texas and extremely active. Oh, wow, this is just a citation explaining this person's dead name and transition. That is the citation here, by the way, for his claim that the person who yelled the thing was this person. That's the citation. It's just like, hey, by the way, this is this person's fucking dead name. And also, he does cite Ruptly, USA scuffles erupt between Patriot Prayer and Antifa, but I kind of doubt, because Ruptly is a video service, that they like cited this person by name. Like I'm not convinced that happened. I think Andy's just being a dick. All right. Well, wonder why people wanted to punch you, Andy. It's a goddamn mystery to me. Yes, thank you, Lunabird444. This is in fact a content warning for whiny baby men whining about people being mean to them for 319 pages. And yeah, the satanic Portland anti-fascists are actually super awesome. They like dress in scary masks and like, I don't know, Satanists are neat. They're just like, They're like, if objectivists were cool and also trolls, they would be Satanists. That's my summary. Any Satanists in the chat, feel free to debate me on this. But y'all are great. I'm a huge fan of the Satanists. Can't keep it up. Are we drinking every time he says Antifa again? Yeah, why not? Why not? All right, back to the porn. I walked away half blinded to the county courthouse across Lonesdale Square before losing my balance. Later, in the emergency room of the Oregon Health and Science University Hospital, I found out my brain was hemorrhaging. Oh my Lord. No citation for that, by the way. No citation. Yeah, no, there's no getting away from an insect. I'm definitely getting hammered. I can't help it. What can I do? You see the shit I have to deal with, right? All right. Outside of the Multnomah County Justice Center, the buildings that houses outside of the Multnomah County Justice Center, the building that houses the Central Police Precinct. I'm sorry, it's fine. It's fine. The sheriff's office and courtroom. I was nearly killed by a violent mob. Nearly killed. Okay. I promised myself I would be more on track this time instead of just rambling every 5 seconds, but clearly I've already completely lost that. That vow is gone. So I'm just going to tell you my favorite Haley Adams story, which is that it was, I want to say February of 2019, and it was right after Reggie Axtell and somebody else had picked a fight with a meeting of anti-fascists at the IWW house, and Reggie and what's his face crashed it, and then were like surprised that they got run out, and then they got beaten up because there were like, there's an entire meeting of anti-fascists and two of them. And so they got beaten up, and they both went to the hospital for various injuries. I believe there's like a cracked rib involved. But the next day, and I do apologize for the length of the story, it does have something to do with it. I'll get to it in a second. They gathered to protest the beating of a black man, because the man whose name I can't remember, which is probably, I mean, I'm sorry, any Patriot Prayer people here, feel free to explain how I'm racist for not remembering that name. Maybe you're right, I don't know. But the name of one of the gentlemen that had gotten beat up was black, so it was a protest against the IWW housing racists because they beat up a black man. And Haley Adams got on the megaphone and talked about how they beat a black man to death. And the man in question is standing next to her, and he's fine. And I'm there to participate and observe. I'm trying to keep it cool, and I'm just trying not to laugh hysterically while Haley insists several times that he's dead. And he's just standing there just like, all right, I guess I'm dead now if that helps the cause. I apologize. Let's continue. All right, so Andy was nearly killed by a violent mob. At no point did police intervene to help. Mobile phone footage recorded by Jim Ryan, a news reporter with the Oregonian, Portland's newspaper of record. Ooh, Oregonian, you must be so pleased. Portland's newspaper of record captured part of the beating. While I was in the emergency room, the video was being watched hundreds of thousands of times on social media. I feel like he's into that. Maybe that's just the inflection I've chosen to give him, but I'm going to go with that. That's my headcanon, and no one can persuade me otherwise. My name began to trend on Twitter across the United States, even though most people had no idea who I was. And it was horrible for you, Andy. I know it must have been terrible. Not at all your dream. By the way, that is my main problem with what happened to Andy Ngo that day, just for the record, opining for no reason. Not that he got a bit roughed up and not that he got some milkshake in his hair, but that it catapulted into a national fucking stage. Worth thinking about maybe not doing that next time, just a thought. Fuck this guy, but Jesus, wouldn't it be nice if he didn't appear on Tucker Carlson regularly? Can we all just take a moment of silence to imagine that world? Anyway, here we are in this world, and I'm going to keep reading. Even liberal mainstream media outlets like the New York Times, the BBC, and CNN could not ignore what happened. In contrast to the narrative Americans had been sold that Antifa are merely anti-fascists, that's in quotes, the video showed a mob of mask-clad extremists beating a journalist in the middle of a major American city with impunity. It confirmed what some had been warning for years. Antifa is a violent extremist movement that attacks all kinds of targets under the guise of anti-fascism. And no word as to why anyone wanted to beat him up. I guess they just didn't like him. I guess they just were like, that guy looks weird. He looks like he might have like a weird humiliation fetish. Let's beat him up. No one knew who he was. I mean, people didn't know nationally, but people fucking knew here who he was. He's the guy who provides kill lists to Atomwaffen. Come on. You can't do that. That's not cool. You can't provide kill lists to Atomwaffen and walk amongst the people whom you've, drawn from to make your kill list. That's just logic, dude. That's like street smarts. And Portland isn't really a place that usually requires street smarts. This is like entry-level shit. This is like John Mulaney assembly shit. All right. Well, oh God, he's going to keep. Okay. All right. Though my assault that day received national and international attention, I was hardly the only one to be brutally attacked. How generous of you to share your stage, Andy. Who else? Adam Kelly, 37, was hit from behind with an overhead swing by several masked militants as he attempted to help an older man being beaten on the ground next to the Pioneer Courthouse. One of Kelly's attackers used a baton to strike him on the head. The impact could actually be heard on video. Kelly's head injury required 25 staples to close. He and I were treated in the same emergency department. We didn't know it at the time. He was lucky to survive. Now, my memory of the day isn't the best. I seem to recall that Adam Kelly and the older man being beaten on the ground had attacked several people previously. And again, I feel like sometimes the right has this like weird object impermanence where they like think that the moment they stop doing something, it's like it didn't happen. Like you can beat people up and then you're like, oh, I'm done though. I'm done. You can't hit me back because I'm not actively hitting you right now. Like it's the most goddamn like playground mentality I've ever seen, but they really believe it because they have to. Like they have to believe they're the good guys and they have to believe that whatever they're doing now is what they were doing all along. Yeah. Oh man. Corey Elliott says he was walking around all day saying that's Antifa towards anyone he says to his live stream. Honestly, if he'd done nothing else, that would annoy me enough. I feel like milkshaking is like, don't be annoying in public. You can't, it's rude. Things happen. I don't know. All I'm saying is I've walked around the streets of this city for 10 years, and the only time I've ever felt in danger was when your friends tried to knock me off the top of a snack van on August 22nd of this year. So I don't know, man. Maybe fix your life. All right. Oh, more people. Okay. Gage Halupowski, a 24-year-old Portland resident, was convicted and sentenced for the attack against Kelly. To date, he remains one of the very few Antifa extremists in the United States sentenced to prison time. Tellingly, Antifa groups refer to him as a political prisoner. Again, I don't remember the facts of the case. I bet you someone in the chat does. But I think it's cool how Andy Ngo does the thing where, like, even if something proves them wrong, they just use it as like the exception that proves the rule. So they're like, yeah, it's true that like the guy who attacked Kelly went to prison, but that just proves that like it's so unusual for that to happen. Isn't it a scandal that it doesn't happen more? And it's like the moon logic on display here is just incredible. All right. In total, 8 were injured that day. 3, including myself, required hospitalization. And again, there's no elaboration on whether the other 8 were results of anti-fascist or the right wing, whom, by the way, were present. The right wing was present that day, although you'd never know it from Andy's description. You'd think it was just anti-fascists everywhere, just beating people with truncheons. But in fact, the far right was there. Yeah. Okay. Rose City Antifa, the Portland Antifa group, claimed responsibility for the attacks. We got a quote. The events of this weekend are what we mean by community defense, the organization said in a statement on its website. This is exactly what should happen when the far right attempt to invade our town. This was a rare moment of honesty for an Antifa organization that otherwise spreads disinformation and propaganda. Whoo, a lot to unpack here. The events of this week. So, okay, first of all, there's a construction here where he's like implying that the events of this weekend are specifically referring to Andy Ngo, because everything has to be about Andy Ngo all the time. I don't know if you've seen his Twitter, but like literally everything he tweets, he'll like link back to himself somehow, because in his mind, everyone is as mad at him as he is at himself. Andy, seek help. There's hope for you. You don't have to be this unhappy. So there's that. What they were actually referring to is the milkshake event, which wasn't concrete milkshakes thrown at Andy Ngo, but like a cool thing where when the far right came to town to like do far right shit, Pop Mob and other groups put on a milkshake dance party where people drank vegan milkshakes and danced around in fun costumes, and made the far right look pretty silly all day. And that is actually exactly what that's good community defense, Andy. Actually, and if you weren't such a dishonest piece of shit, then you would acknowledge that a peaceful and lighthearted protest against fascism is good, actually. Insect Mute recalls assless chaps making an appearance, and that's the best community defense of all. I think we can all agree. All right, so there's that. And then again, he's doing the thing where he's like, this was a rare moment of honesty for an anti-form. So again, like he's proving the rule with an exception, which isn't how logic works at all. So everything about this is garbage. Let's continue. If it isn't clear yet, it isn't, Andy. It isn't clear yet. Violence is a feature, not a bug, of Antifa's ideology. In fact, they venerate violence. Andy, I think you're the one that venerates violence. You really like to talk about it just so much. Since 2015, untold numbers of victims, including other journalists, have been doxxed. Andy Ngo, famed, never has doxxed anyone in his whole life, dragging Antifa for doxing people. You heard it here, 15th. I know I'm not new to this book. Okay, we're going to move past it. Untold numbers of victims, including other journalists, have been doxxed, beaten, robbed, or killed by Antifa militants. I feel like you could have a told number of victims killed by Antifa militants, actually, Andy. I feel like that's a number you could tell. And at the time of publication, I think it was 0. We can argue about the Reinhold J. Danielson incident. I'm willing to call that for you, Andy. I'm willing to call that 1, but that's a told number. I just fucking told you the number. And that's not Portland, that's nationwide, Andy. Like 90-some% of the extremist related killings in this country were the far right, and the other ones were Islamic stuff. But that was like, again, less than 10%, maybe less than 5%. Over 90% of it was your boys, Andy, and we got 1 death from Antifa. So there you go. I told you the untold number. I am your God. You will bow. I speak the numbers that cannot be spoken. Also, how the fuck do you dox a journalist? Like, journalists have bylines. Like, it's why you can't dox me. Like, I don't know. I have a name. I don't know. I guess if you like publish their address, that would be doxing. All right. We'll move past it. Sorry. Few of them receive media attention or justice. Andy, if they're journalists, why don't they receive media attention? Don't they have like a platform? But whatever. I get your point. You feel like there's like an untold number of people who are literally dead from Antifa and they're not getting justice or media attention. Thankfully, you're here to cite no sources whatsoever and just allude to things that didn't happen. So good job. For whatever reason, the violence on June 29, 2019 in Portland became one of the watershed moments that brought national attention to Antifa violence and the left-wing politicians who enabled it. Ooh, there we go. Despite many people having been victimized before me. For example, 2 Marine reservists visiting Philadelphia in November 2018 were jumped after being mistaken for Proud Boys by Antifa. Alejandro Godinez and Luis Torres, who are Latino, told investigators that they were called racial slurs during the unprovoked attack and robbery. There is no citation for that at all. Trending Now Network says we should include people murdered by the right-wing death squads in the global south as well. That would be an untold number. That is a number I cannot fucking tell you. The number of people who died at the hands of Antifa extremists is 1. Untold number on the other side. Anyway, yeah, and someone saying Reinhold was self-defense. There's definitely a case for that. Again, this is me giving Andy Ngo the biggest benefit of the doubt possible. And the number is either 1 or 0. Both told numbers. Okay, it's going to be fine. So no evidence about the 2 Marine reservists at all. We're going to move to the next one. Tom Keenan, Tanim Samasi, and Joseph Alkoff were later arrested after they were identified in a video recorded earlier the day at a nearby Antifa protest. We do have a citation on that one. Victor Fiorello, DC Antifa leader, is third man charged in Marine attack in Philadelphia. I don't know the details of that case. Maybe this is one of the problems with going in cold. I could have researched this if I'd done my homework. I didn't. Thought it would be more fun to react naturally. Maybe next time I will do more homework. But I will tell you that this is yet another incident where the police arrested some people for violent crimes against people Andy Ngo doesn't think should be violent crimes. It kind of seems like maybe the police do take action when the far left does, anything, actually. It kind of seems like that might be the case. Certainly he's provided no counter examples. Yeah, Corey Elliott makes a very, very good point. So many of these people have never been identified as Antifa aside from Ngo. And he cites himself, he does. If you watch the chapter 5 reading that I did 2 nights ago and I got completely fucking just wasted out of my mind, he called the East German state, the fucking East Germany, he called that an Antifa state. He said that the government of East Germany was Antifa. So like the bar for being Antifa is real fucking low for this guy. And yeah, amazing. All right. Elkoff is the son of a feminist professor and worked as a progressive Democratic lobbyist in DC. Can you imagine being the son of a feminist? I tell you, I've never met a feminist in my life. Those attacks flew under the radar at the federal level, but President Donald Trump finally weighed in soon after my attack. Portland is being watched very closely, Trump wrote on Twitter. Hopefully the mayor will be able to properly do his job. And there is, of course, a citation for that since our former leader tweeted it. Must make you feel good, Andy. You're still talking about yourself an awful lot here. That's right, Juniper. Feminists do only have daughters. And if they have sons, it's a mistake. We drown them in the well when they're 2. We will eliminate all men. We will kill them. We will exterminate all men. That is our plan. Don't tell anyone, though. We'll have to kill you, too. Part of the city resembled a failing state that day, with masked thugs patrolling the streets openly and freely with weapons. Again, it is just so great to read this book after January 6th. Like, I can't tell you, because remember, this book was in publication on January 6th. Nothing has changed. Like, they couldn't adjust it at that point. It was too late. So it just all reads like a time capsule of Andy Ngo having no fucking idea what's going on, and it's so beautiful. Anyway, I'm so sorry. The authorities were unable to secure order and protect citizens per commands that limit police engagement with left-wing protesters and rioters. Just left-wing, of course. This has been the norm in the City of Roses. It has not been the norm in the City of Roses, Andy. They are so much more rough on the left than the right here, and you know that, and you don't care. Part of the city, oh, no, I just did that, sorry. In fact, the normalization of Antifa violence in Portland could be summed up in how a local left-wing journalist described the events of June 29th. Even with all the violence, now, Washington Post writer Katie Shepard called it mostly unremarkable. Andy, it was mostly unremarkable. You're just not that important. You're just not. No one, I know that you eclipse everything else in your own life, but like, for the rest of us, it's just not that big of a deal. I'm sorry. It's hard to learn you're not the center of the universe. I clearly haven't. Look at me live streaming like a fucking narcissist. All right. Also, Katie Shepard, you're awesome. You're not watching this. You're too cool to watch this, but like I have a giant journal crush on you. Like not like a weird sexual one, like just like you're like amazing as a journalist, and I think you're cool. I made it weird. Oh God. Okay. She was actually right, just not in the way she meant. Political violence involving Antifa extremists had become so routine in the city that by 2019, the near killing of 3 citizens was considered a banality. The near killing of 3 citizens was considered a banality. You notice how he rounded up? Because he was claiming he was nearly killed. And then the gentleman who was hit in the head was nearly killed, but he's rounding up to include the old man on the ground who attacked several people before being brought to the fucking ground to stop attacking people. Now it's 3 people nearly murdered. Murdered a black man before our very eyes. Very strong Haley Adams energy here. All right. But what happened in Portland didn't stay there, nor did the violence end at severe head injuries, as Antifa continued to be whitewashed and ignored and their existence denied. Their appeal and membership grow. So does their adherence as willingness for violence. After months of coronavirus lockdowns in early 2020, Race riots erupted in May in response to the death of George Floyd during an arrest by Minneapolis police. That is a fascinating way to put what happened to George Floyd, Andy. You're a fucking asshole. Fuck you. Can you imagine seeing that video and like being able to type that sentence in good conscience? Like, I literally cannot. Like, I'm not a great person. I'm not like the world's like nicest person, all right? But like, wow, like the heart just trembles at like that fucking audacity. All right. In the name of the Black Lives Matter, BLM, and with the help of Antifa, rioters and looters torched buildings, raided stores, and attacked law enforcement in dozens of cities. This resulted in over 24 deaths. No citation, obviously. I should have stuck with the whiskey. I don't know what I was thinking. This is horrible. Okay, so I don't even know what to say to that, except that, again, this is Andy Ngo just flattening a real event into like a cartoon version of whatever he wants it to mean, completely lacking any nuance. The fact that people pretend that he's an objective journalist like blows my mind. Like, at no point have I ever claimed to be an objective journalist. Like, I'm a person with opinions, and I've made that very clear from the start. Like, I try to report the facts, but I don't make it secret that I have opinions. But like, I am constantly compared to like Andy Ngo, who's like a real journalist. And like, how the fuck? It's fine. I just have to let it go. It's fine. Okay. Despite what was happening before our eyes, left-wing politicians and media denied Antifa played a role. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jared Nadler called the movement imaginary during a congressional debate. We got a citation. Victor Garcia again. Who the fuck is Victor Garcia? Hold on, I do apologize. I will do my homework next time, maybe. I don't plan on anything. Oh, okay, this is from the newstalkers.com. That seems like News Talkers. I'm so sorry. It's not the News Stalkers. It's the News Talkers. That was an authentic mistake on my part. These people who are definitely not stalkers and have an amazingly official looking website. Yeah, I'm going to just drop this in the chat. I will figure out how to like actually share my screen for the next one. Like, I'll do research on tech, but y'all need to fucking check out this website. It is the jankiest shit I have ever seen in my whole goddamn life. Like, I can't handle this. Hold on. You know what? Hold on. I'm so sorry. God, I'm so bad at this. So bad at this. Nobody subscribed to me on Patreon. I cannot do my job. I'm just gonna show it to you. I have to. All right. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. It won't even get rid of the, there we go. All right. So this is the website that he's citing. Unless I'm missing something, and maybe I am, this is what Google showed me. So a very professional website by a very real journalist who has really impressive credentials, I have no doubt. Okay. So on the basis of that, just incredibly strong citation here. God damn, I'm terrible at this. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Let me get there. Here we go. Okay. All right. So sorry. Carrying on with this very serious book of very serious journalism. And even though the public could plainly see masked militants openly planning and carrying out riot operations, the fuck does that mean, Andy? We were still told that there is no evidence of organized Antifa. It's weird because the only way anything can happen is an organization. Anarchists, go home. You can't do anything without an organization. What are you going to do? Fuck your horizontal power structures. The only way anything ever happens is there's a very strict hierarchy in an organization, and that's why Antifa is real. And there is a CEO, and it's George Soros. I've been told not to make George Soros jokes. I've been told it's anti-Semitic. I apologize. I do think it's funny that George Soros is responsible for everything in these people's minds, and like none of us have received a check. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. The point is that anarchists aren't real, and Andy Ngo is a victim. That's the point. Okay. Who causes the violence at protests? It wasn't Antifa, declares one gaslighting Washington Post fact checker analysis, for example. Somebody taught him gaslighting. Who did that? Who did this? Who taught him the word gaslighting? Who did it? I'm going to find him and kill you. How dare you? All right. In 2018, I was one of the few journalists writing about Antifa and warning the public about what was happening in Portland. I had only been a journalist for a few years, and my older mentors in the field told me to pick a new beat. Antifa is an old story. They're irrelevant. Move on, I was told by one trusted editor. Okay, you all heard that, right? You understood? Okay. In 2018, he was one of the few journalists writing about Antifa and warning the public because he was like a harbinger, right? But it was such an old story that everyone told him to give it up. I mean, I guess like if it had been like a giant story in like 2016 and then it had like lulled in 2018 and everyone was like, that's old news, Antifa's dead. But like, that is not what he's been contending in the slightest bit. He's been contending that Antifa was like this menace that no one knew about. But his editor told him it was an old story. I don't know. Am I the only person who finds that really dumb? I am getting pretty drunk, but I do think it's really stupid. Like, I feel that's dumb, and I'm going to stand by that. Ooh, Corey Elia knows what editor that was. Spill. You can't, can you? It's all right. If you can, spill, though. I want to know. God bless that editor, whoever tried to fucking tell him, because someone needed to. All right. Against their advice, I continued writing and speaking about the subject. Thanks to brave editors and producers at the Wall Street Journal and Fox News, respectively, my reporting was given a large national audience. Isn't it great how brave they were? Oh, it's so good. I love this for us. Corey says they left the field because of him. Hate that. I mean, honestly, if I'd facilitated this shit show, I would also leave the field. But yeah. Fuck yeah, V&V Nation. Not afraid. What my mentors failed to see at the time was Antifa's sophisticated strategy to destabilize society using propaganda, radicalization, violence, and even electoral politics. It was always wrong to reduce Antifa to a ragtag group of street hooligans. Behind their violence is a plan to destroy the nation state, America in particular, to bring about a revolution that leads to their vision of utopia. In 2020, the country experienced a taste of this when a relatively small group of committed radicals incited and carried out massive damage to life and property in the name of anti-racism. All right, so this is the thesis of the book. This is the selling thing. This is the thing he's using to sell it. It's the idea that Antifa is a giant conspiracy. And maybe in this book he states it outright. We'll see. But I'm sure you can already see how this ties into a lot of like conspiratorial logic. Like Antifa is it's not just a bunch of like people who think that maybe fascism is bad. Actually, it's like a very highly, tightly structured like organization, probably funded, deliberately bent on destroying America as we know it, which like, I mean, yeah, kind of to the extent that America is pretty fascist, like I guess, but this is the unmasking apparently. Obviously there's no citation for that. I don't need to tell you that, I'm sure. Insect Mute says, ragtag makes me feel like a street urchin in the 20s and needs soup. That's why we love soup so much, because we all just want a little bit more. Just please, sir, I want some more. I want some more soup for my family. Who is the editor of this book? I assume a dog. I assume it's a golden retriever. Like, I don't know for sure, but I just assume. that it's some lovable golden retriever just going, "You did great, Andy. I don't really know how to read, but I love you because you're a human and I'm a dog." And I don't have a citation for that, but Andy doesn't have a citation for anything either. So my shit's as valid as yours, dude. Somebody putting odds that he mentions cabal or globalists. Absolutely love this theory. I will take the bet on that. If at any point in this, what I think will be a series, we get a cabal or globalists in this book, I will immediately switch to whiskey. You have my pledge. You have my word. All right. I'm gonna need it. Okay. God, I can't believe how long this is taking. It's because I can't shut the fuck up. That's my problem. Let's continue. On August 4th, 2020, I gave testimony to the U.S. Congress about the threat Antifa poses to American life and liberty. You sure did, Andy, I remember. I was invited to speak by Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz, who chairs the Senate Subcommittee on the Constitution. I came with a nonpartisan message. Being a Portlander who has reported extensively on Antifa for years and witnessing their daily violence firsthand, I knew that local and federal authorities weren't taking this threat seriously. Not only has it led to preventable deaths, which I will not cite, Antifa militants were now openly organizing uprisings from coast to coast. No citations. I knew that the high-profile nature of giving testimony to the Senate meant I would be subject to another round of death threats, but I couldn't ignore the opportunity to speak with Democrats for once. The threat of Antifa cannot be solved through just one party. I can hear the self-congratulatory masturbation through this whole section and really squicks me out. The thing that's funny in this book is that he's pivoted. As you may recall, he's called like everyone left of Joey Gibson from Patriot Prayer left wing in this book so far. And now he's saying that the Democrats are needed to like stem this threat. Like he hasn't been calling the Democrats anti-fascist all along. Like he hasn't been lumping them in with Antifa this whole last time. But it's a chance for him to like slip in that little like centrist voice nonpartisan shtick that his people like so much. Like they can point to this one quote and be like, look, see, he wants to work with the Democrats. No, he doesn't. I mean, he wants to work with the Democrats as much as Antifa does, which is not at all. Nobody likes those guys. Not even Democrats like Democrats. No offense to the Democrats in the audience, but you know I'm right. Amazing. All right. Well, Andy Ngo, martyr, continues here. Hawaii Senator Mazi Hirono, one of the highest level Asian American politicians, co-chairs the subcommittee with Senator Cruz. I wrote my remarks hoping she and her Democratic colleagues would understand, even just a little, that Antifa are not simply anti-fascist as they claim. I cited evidence from court documents, government press releases, law enforcement, and my own research to show that Antifa are violent and seeks to destabilize the United States through domestic terrorism, none of which he cites here, by the way. There are no citations for any of this. He just talks about his citations. He doesn't offer any, personally. Sorry, okay. My comments were ignored by the Democrats. Not one asked me any questions or even acknowledged my presence there. Senator Hirono, for her part, repeated headlines from The Guardian and other leftist sources that erroneously say that Antifa have, quote, killed no one. We have a citation, folks. Hold on. Let's go. What's the citation? What is it, Andy? Tell me. Oh. He cited an article by Lois Beckett, who knows who that is, entitled Anti-Fascists Linked. Wow. Anti-Fascists Linked to Zero Murders in the U.S. in 25 years. That's the citation there. The only citation for anything I've read recently was the citation to an argument that defeats his point. This is okay. I feel bad now. Like this is just like, it's like shooting really bad fish in a barrel. Like really just like fish that can't swim. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. This is fine. We're going to keep going. Before the 3-hour hearing was over, she stormed out of the room. I hope this is the end of this hearing, Mr. Chairman, and that we don't have to listen to any more of your rhetorical speeches, Hirono told Senator Cruz when he asked her if she would denounce Antifa. seems reasonable. Andy, why are you picking on the senator from Hawaii? Like, what did she do to you, dude? It's weird for you to single her out like this. Said, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I have questions, but okay, we'll go with it. There's a citation here, but I don't really feel the need to click on it because it's just going to be a citation confirming that Hirono told Senator Cruz a very reasonable thing on August of this year. And I don't need a citation for that. I believe it, actually. At this point, no other Democrats were in the hearing. They'd either physically left or logged out if they were attending virtually. A few weeks later, Antifa militant Michael Reinl went on to kill in Portland. He did the thing, right? He did the thing where he did he'd been calling Democrats Antifa this whole time. He certainly did in Chapter 5, which I recognize is skipping ahead a bit, but he did it this time too. He called CNN leftist, it heavily implied that anyone to the right of him or to the left of him is anti-fascist sympathizers. And then he reverses course. He's like, I really hope the Democrats would listen to me. He's like, but then they didn't. None of them did. All of them left. It's almost like they knew you were a fucking hack who has no business talking to a cavalcade of dogs, never mind a Senate hearing. It's embarrassing for everyone. It's a sign of our incipient doom that you weren't taken seriously enough to talk in front of Congress. And by the way, I saw pictures of your stream and I saw your background, dude. And I'm not saying that I'm super luxurious or that my life is great. All I'm saying is that your house looks like a fucking college dorm room. And again, I am asking you, Andy, to go out and get on Tinder or FetLife or whatever and find a nice man and settle down in the goddamn suburbs and leave us all alone. Be happy. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to be sad. None of this is making you happy, dude. You keep thinking that if you get enough ownage on the libs, you're going to be happy. You won't be. It's never going to happen for you. The only way you're going to be happy is to try to be happy for yourself and stop blaming other people for your problems. You're the snowflake, all right? And I want you to be happy, but you can't keep on like this. Okay. Yeah, he would be fine in Tualatin or Vancouver. You're absolutely right, Weed Tealer. Corey says, one of my followers went out with Noah and said it was rather lackluster. And that does not surprise me because this seems like a man who spends all of his time thinking about how people have wronged him, and it is not attractive. I can't speak for gay men because clearly I am not one. I am a woman. But it's not attractive for us, and I can't imagine it would be attractive for men either. Nobody likes a whiner, Andy. Nobody likes a whiner. Nobody. You gotta get a hobby, maybe. Maybe that's the first step. Maybe Andy's got to get a hobby. Anyone got any ideas of hobbies for Andy? Throw them in the chat. I'm going to keep reading. Unmasked is the end result of years of reporting on Antifa, even before I understood what they were. It has taken me on the streets of Portland, Seattle, New York, London, and more. Oh, please tell me he's counting that Whitechapel article that he did about how England's been taken over by Muslims. Please tell me he's counting that as Antifa. That's all I want. I'm just going to believe it because I haven't seen any other articles about anti-fascist London from Andy, so it's got to be that. Corey says he was obsessing over Antifa the whole time. Y'all, I'm gonna spill some tea. Corey might be joining me tomorrow night, so definitely tune in for this tomorrow if it happens, which it should. Because hopefully Corey will let more of these truth bombs drop. This is incredible. We're gonna have more guests. I've got some people lined up. This is gonna be a whole thing, a live streaming series by someone who has no idea what the fuck she's doing. What could go wrong? Luna Bird points out that the chip on his shoulder has cracked his whole shoulder. And Andy, I feel like there's just some big barrier there with the hospitalization that you need. You can fucking wrap that shoulder up just like you need it. You can cure what ails you. I believe this. I believe everyone's got somebody. Not on the left. No one's allowed to have sex on the left, but on the right. On the right, there might be someone for you. All right. Okay, I'm sorry. Preemptive. I just saw what I'm about to read. Everyone sit down for this. Are you ready for this sentence? You're not ready. You're not ready. Okay. Yo, Claudio is coming on. Claudio's one of the people I've got in mind. All right, everyone, are you ready for this? You're not. As any good journalist should know, you don't want to become part of the story. Andy Ngo writes with his fucking fingers in a book that he published on purpose. However, whether I wanted to or not, you did, Antifa decided to make me part of their story. After my 2019 beating, I became Antifa's public enemy number one. They've sent me death threats, stalked me, and even showed up as my family's home on several occasions. They have threatened to shoot me and to set me on fire. They've released my exact whereabouts in real time on social media. They've threatened my friends. The criminal threats are reported to local police, but no one is ever held accountable. Why did I switch to wine? What was I thinking? Did I think it was going to be better somehow than the Nazi Germany chapter? Was that my deluded fucking reasoning here for switching to wine? Was that what I did? You know what, Andy? I believe you. I believe that you've received some death threats from Antifa, and I know they have showed up to your home. The reason they've done that is because you have doxed so many people that I know. Like, enough that there's a t-shirt that people like just get now. Like, somebody made a t-shirt, and when you get doxed by Andy Ngo, you just like get it from the people who made it, because it's so common for you to dox people. Like, it's absurd, Andy, for you to think that your actions wouldn't like have some kind of blowback on you. Like, there's no recourse with the law for us. Like, the thing you're talking about, how the police don't take your threats seriously, like, bro, I assure you they don't take your shit seriously either, the things you do. Like, you're part of an ecosystem pretending that you aren't like part of it. You know what? I should not have to explain why this is absurd. Surely you understand why it is ridiculous that a man who is primarily, like, over the past 6 months rose to prominence by like publishing every single mugshot he could get his hands on and claiming they're Antifa and sicking his like rabid dog hordes of followers onto people that like I know personally, and like occasionally retweeting my shit so that I get like tons of weird ass threats from like, I don't know, accounts, first name, lots of numbers accounts. Like, everyone I know has suffered because of you, Andy, like every single person. So yeah, I'm not surprised that some of that is blown back on you. And I don't know, maybe that's not the right way, but bro, if you swim in the water, you're going to get wet. I don't know if that's a real saying. Yeah. Corey's spilling more tea. Please stand by. I've missed some of it. Corey says it's a journal. Oh, you've been doxxed, or Corey? Is that what it is? Shoot in the ground. Shit. Oh wow. Okay. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to explain this when you come on tomorrow, or whenever you come on. You're gonna have to explain this. Amazing. Excuse me. I don't have COVID. I just inhaled wine because this is so horrible. All right. By 2020, Antifa grew to become a near household name in the United States, following months of street violence and property destruction. President Trump moved to have his administration treat them as a domestic terrorism after promising to do so for a year. Predictably, this prompted a new wave of countless reports, op-eds, and essays defending or whitewashing Antifa. Bad English, it's fine. It's not like incorrect. It's just not a very elegant sentence. Andy, do better. You can do better. You probably can't do better, but try. Okay, few of the people who write about them actually know what this movement is and what its goals are. I'm going to quote my my college classics teacher. Do not write this without specifying what you're talking about in a new paragraph. Andy, what is this? What is them? Failing grade for you. Few of the people who write about Antifa actually know what this movement is and what its goals are. In fact, misconceptions, misinformation, and disinformation about Antifa in both left-wing and right-wing media. Oh, sorry, they abound. My bad. I was just so angry I missed abound. That was actually a fine sentence, Andy. Disinformation abounds about Antifa in all circles. On the right, Antifa are portrayed as street hooligans, violent but also weak, gender-confused soy boys and girls. You're leaving out NBs and also describing fascism, where like the enemy has to be both strong and also weak. So good job on being self-aware. Good job. Points for you. Good job. On the left, they are characterized as brave heroes who defend their communities against white supremacists and fascists. Neither side captures what Antifa fully are, or the true threat they pose to liberal democracy and the American Republic. Oh, tell us more, Andy. Go on. So what exactly are the Antifa? Says Andy with a straight face. And what do they want? Antifa. Pronounced Antifa. He spells it out, so you're sure to pronounce it Antifa. Not Antifa, Antifa. Just want to be sure. Be clear. Yeah, Juniper, I am so sorry to report that he has indeed, and he did it in like the first page, just immediately. And yeah, he did a citation, Juniper, where he just dead named them for like literally no reason. Like it wasn't even like proving the thing that he said that he was going to prove with a footnote. He was just like, oh, by the way, this is this person's dead name. Like, cool. It's great. I love this guy. He's just my fave. Oh, fuck him. Okay, so Antifa, and short for anti-fascist. Okay, Andy, good job. Rare moment of honesty. Is a relatively new American phenomenon, but their ideology and violent strategies have been honed and refined for decades in Europe. Yes, I already read that chapter. I'm gonna, when I load this, I'll put a little link right there. You can click it and watch me just get blasted and talk about Nazis for 2 hours while Andy Ngo just whitewashes Nazis for 2 hours. Simply put, Antifa are an ideology and movement of radical pan-leftist politics whose adherents are mainly militant anarchist communists or collectivist anarchists. I'm going to drink this one. This one's to you, all my anarchist communists. Y'all holding it down out there with your fucking anarcho-communism, just anarching it and communing it up, just fucking holding it down with anarchism and communism. Y'all are some Stalinist / anarchist motherfuckers / Also, the anarcho-communists are cool, but you understand the joke I'm making here, surely. This is fine. Ooh, anti-racism. I like that. Juniper, give him time. I'm sure. I have no doubt that Andy Ngo will just brutalize you in the worst possible way as soon as he gets a chance. And I hate it. All right. All right. Where were we? Okay. Sorry. A smaller fraction of them are socialists who organize through political groups like the Democratic Socialists of America and others. Labels aside, oh, you're setting aside labels. How kind of you. Their defining characteristics are a militant opposition to free markets and the desire to destroy the United States and its institutions, cultures, and history. Yes. Oh, God, he's on to us. Everyone, execute Plan Omega B. Andy Ngo has discovered our plan to destroy the United States and its institutions, cultures, and history. This is a real problem. They are here to destroy. If by destroy the United States he means destroy the racism that lies at its heart and the systemic inequalities that make life here unbearable, then yeah, I guess he's right. So good job, Andy. Good job for accidentally being right for once. Yeah. Eric M. points out that the IWW is an American institution. It is interesting, isn't it, how they define American and Western so stringently? They like Western culture. This isn't an original thought of mine, by the way. I can't take credit for this, but Marx is a Western thinker from fucking Germany. It's as West as it fucking gets, right? Y'all like the Germans, right? Y'all like the Germans. Who doesn't? But somehow Marx isn't a real Westerner. The only real Western philosophy or real Western or real American anything is just stuff you like. Like, it's convenient how you can just win an argument that way by just defining good as anything I like and bad as anything I don't like. Well, automatically, I guess you win. Good job. Somebody is plotting a gay space laser, which is the best kind of space laser, objectively speaking. Okay. Contrary to what many on the right believe, they are not liberal, though that does not mean they haven't made inroads in transforming and radicalizing the Democratic Party. Andy, good job, actually. Now, you flatten liberals into leftists in your whole book, and that's not great, but like, good job on at least establishing that liberal and leftist isn't the same thing. Will you please broadcast that to your people? That's all I want is for them to know. All right. What unites this group of leftists is its opposition to so-called fascism, though importantly, what is defined as fascism is left wide open. This is intentional, as it allows Antifa to justify all manner of violence and extremism in the name of opposing fascism. However, not all of its followers participate in violence. In fact, most don't, and instead work on delegitimizing liberal democracy and the nation state through charity and relentless propaganda. You heard it here first. Charity is a liberal conspiracy. Sorry, a leftist conspiracy to delegitimize the state. That is true. There's no citation, of course, but it's true. All charitable organizations are an attempt to move us towards communist and or anarchist hell, anarchist communist hell, if you will. Yes, John Q. Public, mutual aid is indeed going to kill us. We are doomed. I don't know. I have personally donated to charity, and I am personally appalled to find out that this whole time I was an anti-capitalist. Even when I thought I was a right-winger donating to charity like 10 years ago, I was apparently contributing to the fall of America, because by acknowledging that things are bad in this country, I'm not going to be able to get over this. And this is going to haunt me. I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night thinking about this. I really did think I would get less drunk this way. But how? You see what I'm dealing with. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Okay. Since Trump's election win, the manifestation of Antifa in the United States and Canada, parentheses, and to a lesser extent in other Western countries, has mutated into a unique contemporary breed of violent left-wing extremism, influenced by BLM, intersectionality, and other vogue left-wing theories from academe. I love it when people spell it like academ with like an E, like academy. Like, is it academ? But I feel like you can't say it without like an academ. Like, it's not like academia. It's like academ. Anyway, intersectionality and voguing has influenced academe. American Antifa have become a more virulent strain that appeals to the mainstream left. Don't even call me homophobic for that bit. Like, bitch, I am extra bisexual. Like, that was pretty gay, and like, but in the best way, okay? If you're gonna just say lies, like, at least be fabulous. And for once, Andy, I'm gonna fucking applaud you on this one. I've got to look at the chat because I'm going insane. Is that why the Christians don't help the poor anymore? Is it too liberal? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that is exactly why. Anything that helps anyone else is liberal and therefore anti-Jesus. I wish Jesus would come back. God, can you imagine if Jesus came back? I would die. I'd be so happy. He'd be so upset. Can you imagine how mad he'd be? Like, Jesus was a decent guy. Like, he just wandered around telling people to be nice to prostitutes mostly. And like, people have taken his legacy and been like, let's kill people and also help no one. Like, I'm not the first person to point this out. It just makes me happy every time I think that maybe the Christians are right and maybe Jesus will come back and he'll just be like, I said what I fucking said. Like, I'm more mad about divorce than gay people. Stop making money off of religion. All the evangelicals get the whip. Like, that's all I want. I should be able to have it. All right. I'll stop with my fantasies and continue. Antifa are no longer a fringe group of radicals wreaking havoc in a handful of cities in America. They've seen tremendous success through finding fellow travelers in education, journalism, the legal profession, and politics. Alan Kessler, this is a call out. The United States is being attacked in all directions by a movement few understand or recognize. Well, thank God you're here to shed light on the situation, Andy Ngo. My God, what would we do without you? The political street violence involving Antifa in the United States served as a harbinger of American society, the canary in the coal mine of our coming disorder, even possible civil war, if we allow their actions and ideology to be further normalized. Good sentence, Andy. No notes. That was that was actually really good. That was actually great. Like, to the point where I wonder if you wrote it. That was great. Good construction. Nice flow. I actually enjoyed reading it. Thank you very much. You're wrong, obviously, about everything. And I can prove it because I exist in a world after January 6th, where the people who ended up storming the Capitol with weapons and beating a police officer to death with a fire extinguisher was the right and not the left. And we've called it for years and no one was surprised but you. Carrying on. American media constantly warn us about the rise of right-wing violence and the lethal threat posed by white supremacy. Yes, they do. You're so right. No honest person denies that there are indeed violent far-right militants in the United States, as documented by federal law enforcement, but their numbers and influence are grossly exaggerated by biased media. Oh my God. Oh, this is so good. Oh, this is so good. Oh my God. Antifa receives a tiny fraction of the news coverage of the far right, and yet I would argue their increasingly violent tactics and ideology pose just as much, if not more, of a threat to American liberal democracy. In these pages, I will show why. Oh my God. I need a cigarette. Oh my God. I don't even smoke and I need a cigarette, like an old-timey cigarette. You get the reference I'm making. That was incredible. That was the most amazing piece of prose I've ever read in my whole life. I'm so happy to be alive. Reality owned you so hard, Andy. Oh my God, I'm dying. Okay. Yeah, Juniper, I'm also getting warm and damp. This is definitely my sexual orientation. Like, it's been confusing for years, but like that last paragraph is what gets me. Like, gentlemen, if there's anyone that looks exactly, ladies, gentlemen, and those who lie betwixt, if there's anyone who looks and sounds exactly like that last paragraph, fucking DM me. I will break my celibacy rule for you. Through analysis of never-before-seen Antifa documents, Unmasked reveals some of the key players behind this movement and the strategy they've developed to recruit, train, and radicalize followers and the public. Street violence is only part of their planned revolution. We ignore or whitewash Antifa at liberty's peril. And that is the end of the intro. I said this was chapter 1, but I lied. It's been over an hour, and in no way did we talk about chapter 1 even at all. I am a liar. I'm going to have to change the thumbnail, and but we're done. We're done. This stream is basically over. I'm going to stick around to just shoot the shit with the chat, but God, I just like. It's just so rare in this world that you get such a beautiful I told you so as this. Like, it never really happens. You like fantasize about it. Like, this is like some West Wing shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is like neoliberal fantasy world shit. God. All right, this is the end. Laura's probably flying. Yeah, I mean, look, it's fine. I got a lot of comments about how like I drank like a monster, and it's kind of made me reconsider my life because I thought it was going kind of easy. I did get really drunk though. I got like bad decision drunk. Like if you received a suggestive text from me that night, I am so sorry. You know who you are. I'm so sorry. That was embarrassing. Anyway. Let's see. Anyone got anything? I'm gonna shut this down soon, but we'll talk. I love you too, Latin people. That's not like it's a person in the chat. I'm not being weird. Thank you. Yeah, Brad, thank you. I also thought it was pretty normal amounts of drinking, but I mean, I was wasted, but like, I don't know. I guess I used to drink kind of in a professional capacity. I've laid off. At one time I laid off completely, but it's fucking 2021. Sue me. How many glasses for the intro? The 19 crimes is about to hear. So I'm going to say about 3/4 of a bottle. That was way more than I intended. Yeah, I refilled it at least 3 times, Heath. I'm definitely less drunk than I was last time, so that's good. See, we're making progress. I'm a better person for it. Thank you, Juniper. I am really pleased with my eye makeup tonight. I appreciate the compliment. God, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Coriolis is going to be on tomorrow. Hopefully, I've got Claudio for Monday. This is just going to be like a thing. It's not going to be an every night thing because I can't every night, but like, we're just going to keep doing this until it ends. We're going to go for about an hour every time. I'm going to try to have guests on. We're going to like get through Andy's book together, and it's going to be super fun because Andy's hilarious. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to address some of the questions that and comments that I received on the first video. I had someone tell me that it was really sad that I was spending so much time talking about someone that I so clearly hate, and that it was like a pathetic waste of my time. I would stipulate that watching somebody waste their time is way more pathetic than somebody making someone while they waste their time. Like the fact that you tuned into my video, which you consider a waste of time, and then wasted your time leaving a comment, you win the sad game. Like I might be a sad fucker, but you are the saddest fucker. So get the fuck out. I don't have to care what you think. People are excited that I'm letting Andy Ngo live rent-free in my head. First of all, this is funny, and I think it's good to make fun of people that are funny. Like, it's kind of my whole ass thing. I like doing it. It's a lot more fun than like having to be serious about the very serious threats that could kill us all someday. So like, yeah, I'm gonna make fun of Andy Ngo. Living rent-free in my head, Andy Ngo has really hurt a lot of people that I like. So yeah, I do think about Andy Ngo sometimes. You're completely correct. I think that he's a bastard. He's hurt people that I know, and someday he may hurt me. If he ever unblocks me, you fucking coward. Like, it's not like I'm just obsessing over him for no reason. The fact is that this grifter, this fucking piece of shit, has hurt my community in a pretty big way. And like, pretending that it's somehow my fault for noticing is like some weird shit. It's weird. It's just weird. Like, just don't. Like, just acknowledge the fact that Andy Ngo has done some damage to Portland and the people who live here, like real human beings with families and shit. All right. I was trying to think. I didn't think there's anything else. People are mad at me for promoting his book. I'm not promoting his book. I'm reading it out loud and making fun of it. If that makes you go and buy the book, that seems like a you problem, not a me problem. Don't buy his book. For sure, don't pirate it. I would never encourage anyone to do anything illegal. Do not go to andyknownmasked.com. I didn't make that site. That's actually true. But if you did go to it, and you would encounter a very obscene picture and then an automatic download of Andy Ngo's PDF. Don't do that. That would be illegal, and also you would have to see Goatsy. And that part's true. You would definitely have to see Goatsy. So do not go to andyknownmasked.com. Whatever you do, that would be a terrible choice, and I don't recommend it if you want to read this book. Because that would be wrong. You should buy his book. It's very important to pay creators who grift and steal everyone else's work for their work. It's because he gets to live by one set of rules and we all get to live by the other. And that's why you need to buy his book right now. Thank you, Iconoplast, who says that you are not promoting it. You are reading it, so we don't have to. That is my goal. If this video made you buy Andy Ngo's book, then that is, again, a you thing, not a me thing. I feel like I've been pretty clear about how I feel about it. And I don't mind. Let's see here. Andy has hurt a lot of good people, Maxie. It's some bullshit. All right, let's see. Yeah, Corey Elliott recommends buying it at Goodwill. I assume Goodwill would throw it out as trash, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they haven't read it and they'd see like the cover, which looks nice. I don't know. For sure, don't buy it new. It's fucking grifter. I had somebody ask me. Somebody contacted me and was like, "Is it true that Andy Ngo was run out of town by anti-fascists?" To my knowledge, no. To my knowledge, Andy Ngo just moved to London and then claimed that he'd been like driven off by anti-fascists. I'm gonna leave soon. I'm gonna leave you with something, and like y'all aren't all gonna like this, but like I'm drunk, and also it's true, and you need to hear it. So please listen. Andy Ngo has made an entire career on being a victim. Like that's literally all he has to offer. You've heard this prose. Like he's had a few good sentences, but mostly it's garbage. It's dull. It's not factual, it's not fact-checked, and it's not particularly good. The only thing that Andy Ngo has going for him is his complete lack of shame. He will be a victim all day, every day. He does not care how bad it makes him look. He does not care how pathetic it makes him look. He does not care how it completely ends any possibility of romantic happiness for him. His appetite for humiliation is so immense that like submissives all over the world are in awe. So what I am beseeching my beautiful comrades, my friends, is don't help him. Don't help him be a victim, please. It's what he wants. He wants you to hate him. He wants you to fear him. He wants you to make him a big deal. He isn't. He's a tiny, sad man living in his parents' basement. And the less you pay attention to him, like the less that you draw like attention to him and make him seem dangerous, the less he can do is grift. Like, and I know that seems stupid because like that's the same kind of logic that liberals used to be like, don't protest Antifa, right? Like, don't protest the far right. The police will take care of it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in this specific instance, with a specific man, where his whole ass thing is being a victim, the best thing we can possibly do is give him as few opportunities to convincingly portray himself as a victim as possible. I cringe to read the comments. Hold on. Ooh, someone would like to talk about my KMFDM shirt. That's way less controversial than what I just said. So let's talk about it. This is a shirt that I've owned since high school. It is the Godlike t-shirt. It is awesome. It is my shirt of power. It's what I wore when I took tests. And it's a good shirt. It's a good album. KMFDM is a great band. And by great, I don't really mean great. Like, they're not very good, but they're the sound of my childhood, and I miss them, and I love them so much. Yeah. KMFDM sucks, as they say at the concerts, but you know, you got to yell it or they won't do the encore. You cannot fuck with Virus and Juke Joint Jezebel. That shit is amazing. It stayed amazing. It's going to be amazing forever. Like, I'm not saying it's like the coolest music in the world. I'm not saying it's the best industrial, but like, you gotta fucking respect the OGs, all right? KMFDM is like a revolving door of the best. I'm so sorry. Like, you gotta pay your respects, you know? Yeah, same here, Heath Farley. It's definitely a nostalgia thing. I did get to see them in concert, and that was really fun. I miss concerts. When this is over, y'all, you're going to find me at Dante's every goddamn day, just like at every shitty concert that's ever happened. I'm just going to be high as fuck and moshing, like, aggressively, like, to bands that don't have mosh pits. Like, I'm just going to be, like, punching people, like, just all day, every day. I'm going to live there. There will be no more journalism when COVID is over. There will just be me getting aggro at fucking Foster the People concerts in fucking Dante's. Like, that's going to be my life. All right. This has been fun. We're at 1 hour and 20 and I'm talking too much. I love all of you. You're the best. I'll see you tomorrow.